Howdy, cuz. Welcome back to the stream. I am your host, the Lakewood Monster, but y'all can just call me Cousin Lakewood. So, this is a new thing that I'm trying out. Hopefully, I can keep consistent with it, but I'm looking to try and do coffee stuff every Saturday for those of y'all that are interested in coffee stuff. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all are, maybe some of y'all aren't. Who knows? But here I am every Saturday. That's the goal. As you can see on the side, got some, not endorsed by them, but it's like caffeinated seltzer with lemon. So use that as a palate cleanser. Probably not the best palate cleanser out there because I am drinking caffeine already. So it's like pouring fuel on a fire. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Anyways, so as you'll probably notice in the bottom left corner, I don't have my setup listed like I usually do. The reason for that is because, well, I figured I'm going to be making a bunch of different drinks. Some of them are going to use different kinds of beans and stuff. Well, not beans, but like some of them will use beans, some of them will use grounds, some of them will use ingredients that I don't usually use. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, if I listed all of them down there, it would, it would take a lot of time. It would take up a lot of space. You wouldn't be able to read it anyways because the font would be so small. So to avoid that, that's why I did that. But to start, how about we make ourselves a latte? We're gonna make ourselves a latte, and we're gonna attempt to do some latte art as usual. Probably gonna fail as usual, Something about streams makes me really bad at doing latte art, so let's go. As usual, gonna leave my mic on for you weird, curious people that want to know what my machine sounds like. Here's what it sounds like. I mean, the mic only catches it sometimes, but like right now. Well, while we're waiting, we'll pour ourselves some milk. As you can probably see, I lifted the camera a little bit so y'all can see a little more of my workspace. Yeah, for those of y'all curious to know what the rest of the cutting board looks like, that's what it looks like. It's a cutting board. It's a cheap cutting board, but it's a cutting board. Yeah. Warm up the wand so we can steam our milk, as usual. Let's get to it. Gonna move this guy real quick. Don't need him quite yet. All right. As a disclaimer, as always, I am using a full auto machine. The results of a full auto machine only go so far, so if you're expecting most immaculate coffee in the world, prepare to be disappointed. Bottom of my cup wet. Okay. So this awkwardly with the camera in between my crotch. A lens. Ah, so close. I couldn't pull the tail out enough. But did a lot better than usual. Looks closer to a heart this time rather than a leaf. Just that little tail at the end. So close. So close. So close. Anyways, since I felt like I was not as prepared to talk about coffee last time, so I wrote down some notes. Y'all are probably going like, oh, that's lame. Look at this guy. Like a presenter, like a teacher with his pad of notes that he's reading from. Must be lame. Don't waste the milk if you're at home. If you're at a cafe, waste the milk. Don't make it awkward. Because if you sip it at the cafe, customers are gonna give you some weird looks. But yeah. So, one more time before I take a sip. A good long look at it. Almost a heart. Almost a heart. Right? We'll get there. We'll get there. This is probably the best result that I've gotten so far on stream. I can never perform on stream. I've got like stage fright or something when it comes to making latte art. So yeah. As usual, good coffee. Plain. May not be the best, but it's still drinkable. But yeah. Anyways. So first thing I have written down is, ironically enough, well, I guess not ironically enough, I kind of planned it like this. Is it ironic if I planned it? It's probably not ironic. But I wanted to talk about lattes, because recently I had an experience where I drank two different lattes. Well, not, I guess they're kind of different, but basically I drank two lattes at two different cafes. Yeah, so, and they were so different that it just, I don't know, it just grabbed my attention and made me want to talk about it to someone because, I don't know, maybe one of y'all can sympathize with me, but I'm no, by no means am I an expert in coffee, right? Excuse me real quick. Seems like someone's trying to call me, maybe a telemarketer. So sorry about that. Yeah, what my sister wanted to call me up, ask me about keyboards, because I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, y'all are probably like, you could have easily ignored that. But for me personally, I don't know. If someone calls me, I feel like it's probably something important. And even if it's not something important, maybe, maybe it's important to them. Who knows? But yeah, it was just a quick little chat about keyboards and stuff like that. Nothing too big. Anyways, where was I? Notepad. Yes. Teacher stuff. All right, class, listen up to my story. Anyways, yeah. So I went to two different cafes. One of them, left a bad taste in my mouth. It was my old stomping ground, where I actually learned to be a barista and stuff like that. So obviously, maybe there was a bias. Who knows? So maybe I'm not qualified to talk about this, but yeah, I'm not an expert in coffee by any means. I only spent like 1 or 2 years being a barista, so my level of expertise in coffee is probably like a little higher than average person, but not like significantly. I'm not like a coffee god or anything like that. But yeah, no. So yeah, the first one that I went to, it was a new place that I was visiting. I snuck out and I managed to visit this place, but I drank their latte, right? I drank their latte, and it was burnt. It was burnt. It was bitter. It was over extracted. It was, yeah, it was unpleasant to drink. I'm not going to give out the name of the cafe, by the way. I feel like it was just like a one-time thing, hopefully, and they'll get better over time, but maybe if they try to improve. But yeah, it was burnt and bitter. The milk, it was, when you sipped it, the bottom section was super flat, and then the top section was like super foamy. A latte is supposed to be, same texture consistency throughout. It's supposed to be smooth throughout, so yeah, no, it was like drinking something that felt upside down. I don't know, it felt upside down drinking it, but yeah. And I don't know, they roast coffees and stuff like that, in store, and maybe that gives them some credibility, but in terms of making a latte, it gave me an unpleasant experience. Whereas, when I went back to the old donut shop that I used to be a barista at, the coffee they gave me, it was amazing. It was heavenly, in my opinion. To me, it tasted like liquidy peanut butter, which sounds probably gross to some of y'all, but to me, I don't know, the idea of like drinking it felt smooth. It was a little sweet because the milk was like the milk gave it a little bit of sweetness, right? When you steam milk properly, it gives it a little bit of sweetness. It would the coffee beans that the owner was using, it was a new coffee bean that he got sourced in, but it was like earthy and nutty. I guess that's why it made me think about peanut butter. But yeah, it felt like I was drinking a delicious cup of peanut butter, right? And that's how I feel like a latte should make people feel. It's like drinking smooth, delicious peanut butter. Unless you hate peanut butter, think of something else delicious that's kind of a little savory, a little bitter and stuff like that, and a little sweet. I don't know. But for me, it reminded me of peanut butter. But, and, you know, at first I was upset at the first cafe. You know, I was just like, how can you mess up this badly? You know, your specialty is literally just coffee. That's all you do, coffee. How do you mess up a coffee that bad? But looking back on it, I feel like it's not entirely their fault, you know, and, you know, for those of y'all that are curious, I'm going to break it down for the next God knows how long. Y'all are probably watching this going like, oh God, this old goat is just going to talk about coffee for like hours upon hours upon hours. But I don't know. It's something, it's a hobby of mine that I enjoy, right? I just like coffee. But, oh man. Yeah, so to break it down, starting with the espresso shot, right? You know, it all starts with that espresso shot. With espresso, right? I talked about this in my last coffee stream, but with espresso, you're looking for a good balance of sour and bitterness. You know, it's okay for it to be a little bitter if it's like a pleasant bitter, and it's okay for it to be a little sour if it's like a pleasant sour, right? So a good it sounds confusing, but a good example of that is one time I went to another cafe. I like going to cafes, you know. Probably shouldn't, because, you know, eventually someone's gonna be like, why is there a dude in here wearing like a 10-gallon hat? You know, what's he hiding? He hiding like something illegal under there? Well, no, I'm not hiding anything illegal, but it kind of freaked people out if they knew what was under my hat. But yeah, there was another cafe that I went to in another city, and I ordered an affogato from there. For those of y'all that don't know what an affogato is basically ice cream with a shot of espresso on top of it. And I tasted the shot of espresso in the affogato, and it was a little bit on the sour side, but, you know, it was a pleasant kind of sour. You know, the coffee beans that they were using were amazing. You know, I wish I could have got a bag, but they probably wouldn't tell me who their supplier is anyways. But it was okay for it to be a little bit sour because it was in a dessert, right? When you're making a dessert with coffee in there, it's okay for it to lean a little bit sour because it adds sort of a tangy profile to the overall dish. So it makes sense for that. Now, the thing is, when people think of coffee and espresso, the first thing they think of is bitter, right? So, this cafe, this is just what I'm assuming that they were going for. They were going for making coffee that the average person would, you know, feel familiar with, right? And what does coffee taste like to the average person? It tastes bitter. So I guess they decided to over extract for that reason, make it bitter, you know, burn the coffee a little bit, because that's what people think of when they think coffee, even though it's not like the proper way. It's just what people are familiar with. And then going on to, you know, steaming the milk and stuff like that, right? I don't know why the steaming was uneven. I can't tell you that much, but the milk was steaming hot. It was like really, really hot. For those of y'all that don't drink lattes that often, when you steam the milk, it's supposed to be like about 90 degrees Celsius, I think it is, right? So your coffee gets extracted at, you know, 100 degrees Celsius, a little over 100. And then you got the milk that you steam, which is at a lower temperature, around 90 degrees Celsius ish. You know, can't give you exact numbers because, like I said, I'm not an expert in this field, but it is steamed at a lower temperature. So it's hot, but it's not steaming hot. And when you combine, you know, two liquids of different temperatures, you know, they sort of equal out, right? It becomes cooler than the hottest liquid, but hotter than the coolest liquid, basically. Um, so when you know, so this latte gets served up to me, I hold it and I'm just like, oh, this cup is kind of hot, right? Take a sip and I scald my tongue, right? And not only that, but since that's a sign that the milk was overheated, it was oversteamed, you know, basically they cooked the milk. And when you overcook milk, right? So when you steam the milk to around 90, that's where the lactose, it transforms, it gives it that sweetness, you know, it becomes modified. So that's why when you drink a latte, you get that sweetness from it. It doesn't come from sugar, it comes from the milk itself. But if you overheat the milk, it cooks the milk and it makes it taste like, well, I guess the best way to put it is it tastes like eggs. So basically drinking this latte from this first place was like drinking a cup of burnt rubbery eggs, which is it's not a pleasant idea, right? For you peanut butter haters out there, you'd probably admit that you'd rather drink a cup of like smooth, warm peanut butter over like a piping hot cup of steamed, rubbery, burnt eggs. I think we can all agree that one of these experiences is better than the other. Not sure if my head just totally wigged out there. I'm gonna crack this open so I can cleanse my palate for the next drink that I'm gonna make. But so yeah, but I understand why they overheated their milk, right? It goes back to that whole you make what's popular thing, right? What is popular to people? What is their idea of what coffee is? What is their idea of what latte is? And you know, when people think of coffee, they think about something that's bitter, that's offensive. It's supposed to wake you up in the morning because of its taste or something like that. Like, oh, the strongest coffee is always the darkest and most bitter one, which is not true, by the way. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, yeah, so that's what people usually think of when they think about coffee. And, you know, they also think of coffee as something that's piping hot. It should be steaming. It should scald your tongue when you sip it. So I understand why this cafe went for that approach. Even though they made the cup of coffee like bad tasting, to the general public, that is what their idea of a latte is. That is the popular idea of what a latte is. Coffee is bitter, coffee is hot. And that's why the latte was made like that. And, you know, I was pissed off at first, but then I felt kind of sad because I realized that the coffee was just made for the average person. Well, I guess it's an offensive way to say it, but it's made for someone who doesn't know what a latte is, and their first impression of, you know, latte is, oh, it should be like coffee. So yeah, it's a bad experience, but I think we can all learn from this. I don't know if anyone's watching this, you know, the takeaway from this is what's popular isn't always right, but at the same time, you have to understand why it's popular, even if it's not right. But yeah, um, that's the end of my rant. Like, geez. Oh my gosh, this old goat talked about coffee for like a good, what's it, half an hour. This guy, that's all he thinks about, coffee. But yeah, I still can't get that coffee out of my mind. Well, both coffees. One of them was just so amazing. The other one was just so sad. Sad to think about it. Okay. Anyways, moving right along. We should probably get on to our next drink. Let me go and clean up these cups real quick, and then we'll get on to the next drink. All right. What should we make next? Any opinions? Any ideas? See. Oh my gosh. My elbow hurts. I'm getting so old. I've been so old. I've been old for a long time, haven't I? The years, they kind of pass you by, and you forget how many there are. Oh, elbow hurts like hell though. Oh god. Oh, yeah, I guess we can go on to that. Yeah, I'm looking at my notepad again. You know, my little cheat sheet of things to talk about. Coffee, mostly. Have y'all ever seen that meme with the crow? It's just like, tell some new jokes, and it's like all the same jokes. That's me with my notes. It's just coffee, coffee, coffee. I may not be good at coffee, but gosh dang, am I passionate about it. All right. I've wanted to try doing this. So to preface this, I spent a good amount of time with the Vietnamese community. That's kind of where I got my name, right? Because like, you know, you make a Vietnamese friend, they introduce you to their family, which you probably shouldn't be seeing anyways, because it's like, you know, the world isn't supposed to know that you exist. You know, they'd kind of freak out if they knew you were alive. But, you know, Vietnamese community, you know, whenever you make a Vietnamese friend, you know, and you get to meet their family, you know, they introduce you to their family. And, you know, depending on how close you are, they'll tell their family to call you by a certain name, you know. So it's just like, who's this? It's your cousin. It's your cousin, you know, Lakeworth, you know. And they're just like, yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. You know, my cousin Lakeworth that I've never seen before in my life. And they just kind of accept it because I don't know. It's kind of strange. But yeah, speaking of which, ironically enough, the boutique donut shop that I was a barista at for like 1 or 2 years. The owner is actually Vietnamese. Actually, the family is, you know, mostly Vietnamese. So I guess I have a connection there as well. But yeah, that's kind of where I got my name. You know, they're just like, this guy, he's your cousin, Lakeworth, you know, that cousin that we never really talked about before, you've never really met before, but we think he's chill enough to be your cousin, so he gonna be your cousin. He's everybody's cousin now, you know. And Vietnamese families, they kind of get big sometimes, you know, depending on who you're talking about. But you know, they'll introduce you and be like, yeah, this is your cousin, you know, that cousin that. Yeah. Anyways, I've said that a million times now. So this next drink is going to be kind of an homage to them. So there's a coffee drink that they're well known for, right? I mean, Vietnamese are known for coffee in general. They probably have like a million coffee drinks that I don't know about. But I think this is the one that is most talked about in the Vietnamese community, and it's called, I'm gonna butcher this so badly, just watch, I'm gonna butcher it so bad, Café Soda, which it translates, so cafe is coffee, right? That it's kind of recognizable. Sữa means milk, and then da means ice. Yes. And anyone that has spent any time learning Vietnamese also knows that da can mean like a million things. Actually, a lot of Vietnamese words can mean a million things, but da is also used for it's also used to mean kick and rock, and there's probably a million more words that I can't remember, but I just remember that it had a lot of meanings. But yeah, so basically this drink translates to coffee with milk and ice, right? So usually when they make coffee though, they have like a special technique that they do. They have this little filter, kind of like this one, right? Yeah, that kind of filter. I think these are called like Fiend filters or something like that. I could be wrong. Fine, something like that. It's a filter. And basically what you do is you put your coffee grounds on the inside, you kind of tamp it down a little bit, and then you put this filter over a cup because it's got kind of a mesh on the bottom. You pour your hot water over, you put this over your cup, you pour the hot water on the inside of it, and it drips down. It's a drip coffee. I'm not good at it yet, so I haven't figured out how to get that slow drip. So to extract the flavor, I'm just going to use my machine. This is going to be super sacrilegious. Super sacrilegious. Everybody, you know, start doing your prayers or something like that. I'm summoning demons with my coffee machine tonight. So for Vietnamese coffee, there's a specific kind of coffee that they use. It's called Robusta, right? I don't easily have access to Robusta, but you know, the closest thing that I could find is this stuff. You've probably seen this before. Café du Monde. You have to say it with that French accent. Café du Monde. Actually, now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense that the Vietnamese would use something similar to this because doesn't the Vietnamese have like a history of being ruled by the French for a while? I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But I think they have been ruled by the French for a bit. That's why they have... Oh, they do share some words in common, don't they? For example, the Vietnamese word for soap, I only learned this because people kept yelling at me to borrow my soap when I was in the Vietnamese community. But their word for soap is like saphong or something like that. Saphong, something like that. And then the French word for soap is savon, right? So you gotta kind of feel like you're throwing up when you're saying it, savon. Both mean both of them mean soap. So yeah, a little fun fact, I guess, of how much Vietnamese I know. Really don't know that much Vietnamese. Don't get excited. It's like little bits and pieces. Yeah. So the reason why this is the closest thing that you can get to Robusta in most places, well, here in America at least, is because if I can find it, coffee and chicory, specifically the coffee that they use in here is Robusta. So this is like a blend of Robusta and chicory. And it's probably a good idea that they added chicory to this. So if you don't know what chicory is used as a coffee substitute, right? It tastes like coffee, but it's not coffee. It's used as a coffee substitute if you can't drink coffee, right? So it basically has no caffeine, I think. Chicory has no caffeine. Someone can correct me if I'm just talking out of my ass, but I think chicory doesn't have any caffeine in it. It's like a kind of wood, I guess, or something like that. It's some kind of plant, but it's not coffee. So this is a mix of Robusta and chicory, and Robusta is higher in caffeine than Arabica. Arabica is what most of the world uses, right? Especially here in America, Arabica is like the go-to coffee, right? The go-to coffee bean. And you're probably like, but I drink Ethiopian. I drink, name another one. Ethiopian, Guatemalan, all those other coffees, right? All of those are breeds of Arabica, right? So if you've been drinking Ethiopian coffee, that is Arabica coffee. You've been drinking like Guatemalan coffee, that is Arabica coffee, right? They're all kinds of Arabica. Whereas Robusta, I believe Robusta is a separate species altogether. I could be wrong about that too. I am misguiding all of you. We are lost sheep. We are lost goats together. But yeah, so yeah, higher in caffeine. I think it's almost double the amount of caffeine as compared to like Arabica. I'm talking about Robusta, by the way. So this is what I'm going to use because it's going to give us the flavor profile that we're looking for that you would usually find in something similar to Vietnamese coffee, because they traditionally use Robusta beans, not Arabica beans, because that's what grows in their country. Why would you use something that's not grown in your country? Actually, scratch that. We drink Arabica here in America like heathens. But yeah, so that's what I'm using for this, the coffee. That's what I'm using for coffee. As for the milk part, I'm using condensed milk because this is what I see Vietnamese usually use when they're making their coffee. They usually use condensed milk. So I guess that's like the sua part of sua da. So we'll see. And then of course we have ice. I got ice right here. Not using a replacement or anything weird for ice. It's ice. Ice is ice. It's, ice is ice. Ice is ice. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna change the settings on my machine real quick. So we extract when we extract it, we have more liquid going through. Because I think if this is what's going into their coffee, right? If condensed milk is what's going into their coffee, we're gonna need a little more water to make sure that stays liquidy. So that's what we're gonna go for. I'm gonna use a different cup, something a little larger than this guy. This one. They look like they're the same size, but trust me, that one's ever so slightly larger. Well, not ever so slightly. It's significantly larger, so we'll be able to have more leeway when we're working with this. But anyways, so have my machine set. Luckily for me, this machine takes both whole coffee beans and ground coffee, so I can easily just use this. Technically, I'm supposed to use fine ground coffee, but I'm too lazy to ground this up. Sue me for being lazy with my coffee. I could ground this up more, but y'all are probably already bored enough with me talking your ears off about Arabica versus Robusta. All right. Speed mode to something else. Okay. What should I pull? We'll try one and see how it looks. Hopefully this gets me the right amount of liquid for what I'm trying to do. Suspense. Coffee can be suspenseful. I think this is not a good setting. Hold up. Okay, that did not turn out well at all. That's. I stopped the machine early, but as you can see, I mean, it looks like it's drinkable. If you just wanted like an Americano style, but yeah, it's just black coffee, but it has like way too much liquid. I want something stronger. I want to regret all of this tonight. If I don't feel regret, then I'm not doing it right. All right, I'm gonna dump this out and clean the cup real quick. Sorry, guys. I'll be back in a little. All right, fresh start. Let's try this again. Gonna turn down the amount of. Try that. We'll try that. You can't see the dial, but you'll have to trust me on this. I think we got. All right. Got a good feeling about this. Got a good feeling. imminent regret was a feeling. That's good. I'd have a good feeling. Yeah. Words. Poetic. We look with anticipation. Oh, okay. I think that's a good amount of liquid. Okay, I think we got this, guys. I think we got this. I think this is an optimal amount of liquid. It's like halfway up the cup. I know you can't really see it, but it's basically halfway up the cup. Okay. I was scared that I would be stuck here trying to figure out how much liquid to put in. All right, so we have our kind of Robusta coffee. Nice and strong. We're gonna add in, oh, this is awkward. I have a bunch of stuff in front of me. You have no idea how awkward it is for me to like reach around. I'm reaching around y'all right now, by the way. Go ahead. That was a little dollop. Huge dollop of condensed milk. Stir it in there. Give us our sweetener. Camera probably doesn't like me right now because I'm walking everywhere. What are you doing? Why are you over there? Why are you over there? I go where I please. I am a trailblazer. Not really. Okay, so we have our cafe, we have our sua. Now we just need our da. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kick this cup of coffee as hard as I can. I'm so punny. Look, Mr. Worldwide, I made a pun in another language that I don't speak. But yeah, to finish this all off, I'm gonna need some ice. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the ice to the coffee. And we'll have a taste, see if it tastes like what I remember. Give it a little stir, make sure that's nice and cold. I mean, why else would you put ice in coffee? Imagine putting ice in coffee just so you can drink the coffee hot. I'd be a little confused by that. Actually, a little is probably underselling it. I'd be very confused. All right. Cup's feeling cold to me, so I'm gonna assume that it is cold. There we are. Not the most appealing shot, is it? It's literally just iced coffee, but you know, let's go ahead and have a sip, see if it's as strong as I remember it being. It's strong, but it's not strong enough. Man, back when I spent time with the Vietnamese community, like their coffee would blow people over, and I got so used to it. One time someone asked me for their opinion of their coffee, right? Because this person was well known in the community for making coffee, by the way. They asked me what I thought about their coffee because they were going to serve it to a party and they were afraid that it was going to be too strong and they wanted a second opinion. So I was like, okay. I'm not used to strong coffee yet. I'm pretty sure I can recognize if it's too strong. Yeah, nope. I tasted it and went like, yeah, no, it tastes fine. They serve it up to their party and the party's just like, why'd you make the coffee so strong? It's like, they got like the jitters and stuff like that. They're just like, we need to lighten this up, put some more water in there. Oh my God, it is so strong. But yeah, This is not it. This is not it. This is not strong enough. This could be so much stronger. So, after I finish this cup, we're gonna try our hand at it again. This time I'm gonna hopefully make it a lot stronger. Lot stronger. I wanna regret it. If I don't feel regret, it's not strong enough. Regret is strong, and strong is regret. It's like freaking out. Camera doesn't like me drinking coffee. Yeah. Y'all get to watch me as I awkwardly drink this coffee like a gremlin. Except I'm not a gremlin, I'm a goat man. Makes you wonder though, why they were okay with a guy like me just wandering around their community. You know, the Vietnamese do have this dish where they call it goat's blood pancake. It's not a pancake, by the way. It's more like a, what would you call that? I guess kind of like I want to say black pudding. I guess you could say it's kind of like black pudding. Yeah, the blood stuff. But a little more liquidy, I guess is the word. That does not sound appealing at all. It's kind of like black pudding, but liquidy. So it makes you think, you know, did they see me as a goat man, or did they think of me more as a goat that could be used in their goat's blood pancake thing? Who knows? Oh, that's kind of scary to think about. But yeah. Goat's blood pancake. I guess black pudding is the best way to think of it. For those of y'all that aren't familiar, I feel like I'm over explaining everything. Excuse me while I goat mansplain everything to y'all. Like y'all some children. But for those of y'all too lazy to search up what black pudding is like, it's like this, it's kind of like a sausage sort of thing made out of blood. I don't know what kind of blood. It's either pork or beef blood or something like that. But it's made out of blood. It's made out of a lot of blood. Yeah, I guess you could kind of think of the goat blood pancake as something kind of like that. All right, let's clear our palate real quick. Okay, so for my more adult audience, my 21 plus audience, you ever whenever you take shots of something, you usually use a chaser afterwards to kind of clear out the taste out of your mouth. And some people are weird and use the lighter alcohols as chaser, like ciders and stuff like that. Yeah, I think this is basically the equivalent, you know, of it. You know, you have your caffeinated seltzer to clear your palate of the caffeinated espresso based drinks and such. It's like a match made in heaven. It's like throwing throwing gasoline on a fire to put it out. Yep. No greater feeling. Seltzer really does help though, in my opinion. It kind of like cuts through the oils that you find in the coffee and the milk, right? Because milk has the, you know, fat from milk. Yeah, not. It sounds kind of obvious now that I say it. Gosh dang, I'm over explaining everything. And the coffee has the oils from the coffee. The milk has the fat from the milk, and the coffee has the oils from the coffee. Can I ever be more obvious? Okay, let's go ahead and clean these cups real quick, and then we'll try our hand at it again. Oh, excuse me. So some of y'all may have noticed that I brought the steam pitcher over to the sink. Even though I didn't use a steam pitcher. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why I did that either. But there's the steam pitcher again. You missed it. I don't know, maybe some of y'all missed it. We need to start up a steam pitcher fan club. Y'all can't see it, but I can see it. Kind of annoys me. I like keeping a relatively tidy station. Doesn't have to be the tidiest, but I need to know where everything. Things can't be all over the place, you know? That's the main goal. Just don't have things all over the place. All right. Scoop out again. Scoop some more coffee in there. We are not going to sleep tonight. Or I'm not. Unless you're also making coffee with me. Speaking of which, if you are drinking coffee right now, share what kind of coffee you're drinking. I'd like to know. Because I know everyone has their own preference in coffee. I'm not going to judge you if you use instant coffee, right? I'm just not personally fond of instant coffee, but if you're into instant coffee, it's okay. You can share that with us. We won't judge. I won't judge, at least. The rest of everyone else might judge. But it's okay. Old cousin Lakeworth, I'll keep your secret. Okay, let's try. As long as you keep my secret about using a fully automatic machine to make coffee. That I'm kind of ashamed of. It's kind of embarrassing. All right, got a clean spoon here, so those of y'all that do use condensed milk and hate it when people double dip into the cup with a dirty coffee spoon, yeah, I know what it feels like. I don't do that. I cleaned the spoon, I dried it and everything. We got a clean spoon. this time I'm gonna add less condensed milk. I felt it was a little too sweet last time, so we're gonna hold back on this boy a little, just a little. Ready. A little ASMR for y'all. What would be the opposite of ASMR, you know? What would you call it if something gave you anxiety when you listen to it? Just gonna stir my coffee real quick. All right. There we go. If you're curious to know what it looks like, a light brown liquid. Amazing. Light brown liquid. Who would have thunk? Coffee plus milk equals light brown liquid. Okay, we're gonna add some ice to this. Ow, shit. Cut myself today on ice. There we go. For y'all to stare at for a little bit while I clean up parts of the table that you can't see. But anyways, step number 2. I don't know why I'm showing y'all this. It's like iced coffee. Wow. We've never seen iced coffee before. Maybe some of y'all haven't. Maybe y'all aren't really coffee drinkers and you've never really seen iced coffee before. But for like a good amount of y'all probably don't care for the sight of iced coffee. Oh crap. I think I got some condensed milk on my gloves and now my gloves are sticky. Oh god, that's gonna get everywhere. Oh, oh god. Sticky gloves equals sticky tables and sticky everything. Everything's gonna be sticky. All right. Cheers. Attempt number 2. Ooh, that's stronger. Ooh, I like that. Oh yeah. I like my coffee like I like my woman. Strong, but not bitter. Strong, but not bitter. See, that's one thing that I think people get confused on. With coffee, you can make strong coffee, but it doesn't have to be bitter coffee. Strong can just mean that there's more flavor, but the flavor doesn't have to be bitter. You know? I don't know. It sounds paradoxical, but I don't know. I guess I've drank enough coffee to be like, oh no, that makes sense in my head. Unfortunately, my coffee machine seems to be running low on water, so I'll have to refill on that after I'm done with this cup. All right, who wants a sip? Here, have a sip. Oh, you took a sip out of my cup after I took a sip. It's almost like a indirect kiss. Oh, so scandalous. Indirect kisses through a coffee cup. So romantic. Oh my gosh, that's what everyone dreams of. Or at least the creepy people do. I don't know. Maybe to some of y'all it's romantic, but if that's what you think about when you're sipping out of my cup, I'll just quickly remind you that I consider a lot of people my cousin. You wouldn't think about making out with your cousin, would you? Actually, no, don't answer that. Please don't answer that. Yeah. Coffee. Y'all ever see those people that sip coffee like so vigorously? Like, I get that, you know, professionals do it to aerate the coffee and make it taste better, but I don't know. Even though it's for like professional reasons, like that they sip their coffee so vigorously, I still think it's kind of funny and entertaining to watch. It's just like, you know, it actually does make that noise. Well, the coffee experts, they actually do make that noise whenever they sip their coffee. It's like, here, let me see if I can emulate that. Y'all ready? Oh, that felt weird. That went straight to the back of my throat. Oh gosh. Oh, that's not awkward at all. You still want an indirect kiss from your cousin? Here we go. I almost hocked a loogie into my own cup. Nothing like the taste of your own spit in the morning. Actually, no, it's night. It's currently, oh dang, it's exactly 10 o'clock p.m. Texas time, for those of y'all curious to know. Texas time. I could say Central time, but it doesn't sound as fun. Let's be honest. Texas time is more fun than Central time. They're the same time, but Texas time is just more fun. It's bigger. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the time. So. Whew, that is some good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, so if you're making this at home, don't put too much water into it so it's nice and strong, and at the same time lower the amount of sweetener, otherwise it's gonna overpower the drink. Taste as you go, I guess. I really do hope that someday I master using this little guy, the fine fin whatever. This filter, I think it's called Fiend, because the I makes the E sound, right? PHIN. I think that's what they call it, the Fiend filter. But yeah, hopefully someday I can master that. And when we have a coffee stream, we can just chill around the filter and watch it drip away. Or maybe not. I'd have to get a clear cup, wouldn't I? Nice clear glass cup. That way y'all can watch it go down. That sounds like fun though. Yeah, no. I definitely want to try that now. Sounds like fun. Anyways. Also along those lines. Excuse me. Also along those lines, hopefully someday I can get like 100% real Robusta instead of this, you know, impure Robusta. It's like cut Robusta. We got to spread out our Robusta, so we got to cut it with something else. I'm teaching y'all powders 101, and by powders I mean coffee grounds. Coffee's a drug, technically. Yeah. Nah, that's true. Coffee's technically a drug. So I'm teaching y'all how to deal a type of drug, just not the illegal kind of drug. I'm teaching y'all how to deal legal drugs, and this is how you cut your product. If your client can't handle the full-on strong stuff, you cut it with something else, like chicory. Make it less intense for them. A little more inviting. Oh God. I'm gonna get canceled over this, aren't I? But yeah, let's go ahead and clear our palette. Oy. All right. I'm gonna go wash my cup real quick and refill the water in the tank. So I'll be back with some filtered water for y'all. All right. I come with water. English professionals will debate what he meant for years when he said, I come with water. That really could be interpreted in a million ways. Some of them concerning, some of them very concerning. Oh, you can't see that. Oh well. On the hatch anyways. Oh my gosh. All right. So, just a quick little reminder for y'all. No matter what kind of equipment you're using when it comes to coffee, it can be like a fancy poncy machine like this. It can be an even fancier machine like a semi-auto with like barometers built into it and everything. Or it can be something as simple as like a pitcher, a pour over pitcher. Always use either corrected water or filtered water that you filtered yourself. That way, you're removing those things that may make the coffee taste less than optimal, right? I feel like I've talked about this before, but yeah, I would not want to drink Florida water in my coffee unfiltered. No offense to Florida. Texas, maybe. Texas overall has some pretty sweet tasting water. It comes from that one, I guess it's like reservoir, shed, whatever you call it. It had a funky name. It was like Ogallala. Sweet Texas water. Or maybe I'm just biased. Maybe the Floridians think very highly of their water, and I just offended a Floridian out there. I'm sorry if you did get offended. I personally don't like the taste of your water. All right. We have our water refilled. Gone through 2 different kinds of coffee so far. What is the most logical step besides cleaning my table for the millionth time? It's just a habit of mine. Clean the table. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. I feel like an organization is known for saying that. Which one was it? I feel like it's military based. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. So yeah. I mean, when you work for a cafe, keeping stuff clean is pretty important too, because, you know, first off, it looks better to your customers, right? So for those of y'all that are interested in actually being a barista or something like that, keep your station clean. Looks better to customers if they decide to hang around the bar or something like that. But also at the same time, you know, it decreases the chance of something weird getting into your coffee. So, you know, you have a better chance of serving up a good drink because you kept your place clean and there's not weird stuff in your coffee now. Imagine, you know, ruining a drink just because you didn't clean your station. I would cry, because some coffee-based drinks do take a while to make, you know, especially if it requires like steamed milk. Oh, actually, the most painful one that I can think of. It's not even a espresso-based drink, but it would suck if this got ruined. Stuff like London fogs and honey chamomile teas. Oh man, that would be a real pain to mess up, because first off, the main ingredients in those 2 drinks is like, you have your tea, you have your milk, then you have your sweetener, right? Sweetener is not the problem. The problem is, you know, steaming the milk and brewing the tea. So, tea takes a while to brew, right? If I had like a professional machine for espressos, I could probably pull an espresso in like, you know, under a minute. But with tea is a different story. With tea, you have to wait for that thing to steep. And different teas take different amount of times, right? But overall, herbal teas and black teas tend to take longer, if I remember correctly. So teas usually take 3 to 5 minutes, with herbal teas and black teas leaning more towards the 5-minute mark. So yeah, I really would not want to brew a tea again after that. And then steaming the milk for each of those drinks, not so great either. You know, sweetener, you just pump the sweetener, you're good. You know, but all those 2 other steps, right? I wouldn't want to deal with that. So keep your station clean. If you're looking to become a barista, you'll mess up less drinks that way, you know, because you don't have like a weird floating thing in there. Like, you see, it's a flavor enhancer, a little extra something in your drink. Yeah, no, customers won't appreciate that. But yeah, so maybe someday I can make like a tea-based drink for y'all on stream, for those of y'all curious enough. I do have different kinds of teas as well. You know, I'm personally not a tea guy, but I don't hate tea. You know, tea is still good to me. If you gave me some tea, I'm not gonna throw it back at you and be like, "Ah, peasant, you and your tea. How dare you serve this to me?" Just like if you gave me some instant coffee, I won't throw it back at your face. I mean, people, they have different tastes, they have different preferences, you know, so no point in trying to fight over that. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Maybe make y'all a honey chamomile or a London fog. That would be fun. Yeah. Clear out our throat some more.
I don't know if I'm the only one with this problem, but I feel like whenever I talk for long periods of time, I start building up mucus in my throat, and it gets even worse if I drink milk, which I definitely drank a good amount of milk just a while ago. But yeah, it feels like the back of my throat gets full of mucus, and I have to like clear it more often now because I drink milk. Curse you, milk. I don't know if it's a placebo. I don't know if it's a placebo though, but the same thing still happens even if I use plant-based milk. So for those of y'all going like, oh, why don't you just use plant-based milk? I don't know. It still feels the same to me. It still feels like my throat gets kind of cloggy with plant-based milk. So I don't know. Either way, maybe it's a placebo. Kind of like how if you gave someone a cup of decaf and they still feel awake afterwards, they're probably just expecting the coffee to keep them awake. Oh, speaking of keeping people awake, I said I'd talk about this later. Caffeine levels. I think there's a misconception about caffeine levels when it comes to coffee. Yeah, if I remember correctly, excuse me real quick. Holy shit. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Bless your souls. Bless your poor little souls. That was such a cursed thing to listen to. But if I remember this correctly about coffee, just go on like nothing happened. If I remember this correctly, your lighter roasts actually have higher caffeine content than your dark roast. But most people think that dark roasts have higher caffeine content. And I think it's because of the taste maybe. And also the name of it is like dark. Oh, dark usually means more concentrated, right? Well, no, with dark and light and medium and all those other ones in between. Well, actually espresso roast isn't in between dark or light. It's darker than dark. That's awkward. And then you also have like lighter than light, which was called I don't remember what it was called. It had a funny name. It was like City or something like that. Yeah, dark, light, medium, everything in between and everything outside of that, you know. Yeah. The way you get those different roasts is based on how long you cook the bean, basically, right? And think of it kind of like this. If you cook something for a long period of time, the strength of it like has a chance of escaping it, right? So like in our case, we're working with coffee. Caffeine is our thing that we're looking for. So when you roast coffee for a long period of time, there's that chance of that caffeine, you know, kind of escaping, you know, and making the coffee less potent. So that's why with lighter roasts, they tend to have higher caffeine compared to darker roasts. So there's that misconception. But yeah, I've noticed that some cafes, they just stock dark roast by default because, you know, no one's going to drink the light roast. It goes back to that stupid popular coffee thing that I was talking about. God damn, we've come full circle, guys. Full circle with our coffee talk. Full circle. So it goes back to the whole popular coffee thing, right? Most cafes, they're probably not going to stock your lighter or medium roasts because no one's going to drink them. You know, people are probably going to be like, nah, I don't, you know, I don't drink that baby stuff. That's not baby stuff, guys. That stuff has a higher chance of making you all jittery as opposed to those dark roasts. But it's just the familiarity of dark roasts and what people perceive with dark roasts. It's like, you know, darker is more condensed, right? That's how it must be, you know. And, you know, if it's more bitter, it must be higher in caffeine, right? Not exactly true. Yeah. little misconception thing right there. Popular coffee. Popular coffee makes me sad, but gotta understand why people like these, generalizations about coffee. They don't know any better. This is just what society teaches them. This is just what I'm getting too philosophical with this. Philosophical goat. Oh my gosh, this is not weird at all. But yeah, popular coffee makes me sad, but it's what people grow up with. It's what people expect of coffee. It's what they think about coffee. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, so I don't know if this guy's in the audience. In the audience, like I'm talking to like a whole crowd of people. Hello, New York. But yeah, so one of my followers actually did contact me earlier, said they were feeling a bit down. I don't know if they're watching right now, so I guess here's hoping. But I just wanted to dedicate a cup to them, let them know that they mean the world to me. All my followers mean the world to me. If any of y'all disappeared today, tomorrow, anytime in the future, I don't know. It would affect me. I feel like it would affect me, knowing if one of y'all, weren't with us no more. So to cheer them up, I'm gonna make their favorite drink, their favorite coffee-based drink, which is crap. I clogged the machine. Their favorite drink is espresso romano. I personally hate espresso romano. Not hate. I guess hate's too strong of a word. I'm not a big fan of espresso romano. I'm not a big fan of the sour profile of coffee, but he personally likes the sour profile of coffee. So, just gonna dedicate this to him real quick. So, those of y'all that haven't watched my last coffee stream, I'm just gonna wait for this to finish. Oh, that's looking a little dark. Hold on. Let me adjust some stuff real quick. Okay. Those of y'all that haven't watched my last coffee stream, a espresso romano is a shot of espresso with a squeeze of lemon in it. Squeeze of lemon. I'm personally not into the sour profile of coffee, but like I said, this follower of mine is, so here's to you. Cheers. Definitely interesting. It's like sour. For me, it kind of I burned the back of the throat a little bit from the acidity. So that's interesting. I guess it does bring out the flavor of the coffee. But yeah. Here's to you, friend. Cousin. Everyone's my cousin. Hope you're doing well. But yeah. Very interesting taste. Nice and sour. But yeah, just gonna go ahead and clean this cup real quick. I'm also gonna get myself another seltzer, caffeinated, because who needs sleep? Do you need sleep? I don't need sleep. I am sleepless. I am eternal. All right, I'll see y'all in a little bit. All right, back from the dead. Oh, another seltzer to clear my palate, and clean cup. This thing has been through so much abuse. I'm surprised it hasn't stained brown yet. So much coffee. Oh, speaking of seltzer, I know this isn't exactly related to seltzer, but who cares? This is my monologue, and y'all are here for the ride. Speaking of seltzer, the way I was actually trained to recognize how extracted a coffee is, or not coffee, but espresso shot is, how extracted an espresso shot is that basically my old boss, right, the Vietnamese guy, he laid out 3 cups in front of me, right? One cup was clearly sour, one was clearly bitter, and one was right there in the sweet spot in the middle, right? And he basically said, all right, we're gonna do this. He pulled out like a bottle of seltzer, cracked it open, poured it out for me, and was like, all right, I want you to sip this one. And he gives me the sour one, and I take a sip of it. I'm just like, oh God, this tastes terrible. And he's just like, pretty bad, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, there's no mistaking it. That is not a good shot, right? It tasted, it burned my throat, and he's like, yes, that's called sour or acidic, we don't want to serve that, right? Now, clear out your palate, take a sip of seltzer and stuff like that, get ready for the next one. Hands me the bitter one, take a sip of it. Oh God, this is bad too, right? This one's clearly bitter. And he's like, yeah. So that's an example of, when you extract it too much, right? So sour is under extracted and Well, it's more than under extracted. There's more elements that go into it, but generally we'll just say the sour one is under extracted and then the bitter one is over extracted. It gets more technical than that, but yeah, you know, that's the general premise of sour versus bitter or burnt or whatever you want to call it. Then he hands me the last one, which is the one in the center. I take a sip of it and it tasted very strongly of coffee, but it wasn't like, it wasn't offensively bitter, right? That's the thing. It was very coffee, but it wasn't over bitter. It was a little bitter, but it was also a little sour at the same time. And he's like, you see that one? That's what we're aiming for. That is called a sweet shot, right? And it's just called sweet because it's the most pleasant one to drink. That's how you get the maximum amount of coffee without it tasting nasty, right? But yeah, no, I do. For those of y'all that are going like, oh, well, Cousin Lakeward, but actually, you know, it's possible to extract more coffee flavor without it having that bitter profile. Yeah, that's true, but for the sake of simplicity, that's how I explain it. I know it's possible to get a higher extraction without the bitter flavor, but in general, you know, if you're teaching like someone new, that's the understanding of it. Excuse me. All right. Enough talking though. I spent too much time talking. I feel like it's time for another drink. You know, how many drinks has that been? It hasn't even been that many drinks. It's only been like, we're only 3 drinks in. Come on, guys. We're not that weak. It's only 3 drinks in. This is going to be... In the future, I bet someone's going to take that so far out of context. It's not going to be funny. Or maybe it will be funny. It'll probably be funny. Yeah, it'll be stupid and funny. That's the best kind of funny. All right, let's try doing some more latte art. Why don't we? Hopefully this time we'll get a heart. Oh boy, let's go. Why is it taking so long to grind? Felt pretty long to me. Excuse me. Holy shoot. Almost sneezed. Know how when you almost sneeze, your head kind of goes like, ugh. Get ready for it, brace for it. That's how I feel sometimes. All right, there's our shot. Got that orange crema, looks kind of pretty. But as we know, remember cousin, the crema is just pretty. Doesn't mean it tastes good. You may have crema on your coffee, but that doesn't mean it is a good coffee. It can still be a bad coffee, even with crema. All right, let's go ahead and pour the milk. Pour that, but I was busy trying not to sneeze. Bless all of y'all. Right. All right. So, last time we tried to pour, we almost got art out of it. Almost got a heart. We got art, but not a heart. We need to earn that H. Go from art to heart. So philosophical, so deep. It ain't that deep. I need to start making posters of everything I say, because everything I say is so amazing and philosophical and deep. The whole world should know about this stupid shit I say. Inspirational. All right, let's warm our wand real quick. Right. Time to tear some paper. All right. There we are. Like white paint, but not white paint. All right, kids, drink your white paint. Mmm, delicious. Always nervous when I do this. I don't know why. Dang. I ran out of milk at the end. I got so close and then I ran out of milk. Oh, that is so awkward. Here's the result. Let's see if y'all can see that. Yep. You can see it. At the very end, at the most convenient time, I run out of steamed milk to make my art. Should have poured a little more, just a tad bit more. I should probably invest in one of those pitchers that actually has measurements on the side, because the way I've been measuring so far has been using the spout to measure out how much milk I have. Yeah, not the most accurate way to do it, but I thought it would be okay enough. Clearly not. Clearly not. Clearly not. Dang it, twice in a row. I came so close. Twice. This is a frustrating stream. It's all y'all's fault that I'm doing this. Y'all are staring. You need to stop staring for me to perform. Still pretty good though. Can't complain there. It still tastes good. Nice and silky, you know, it's like smooth. It ain't peanut butter smooth like the one that I drank, but still pretty good. Still pretty good. Oy. old. Excuse me while I crack my back, like, for the millionth time today. Wonder how bad it is to crack your back, like, all the time. I know some studies say, cracking your back, it ain't bad, but what if you try cracking it like a million times a day? Pretty sure there has to be some point where it starts becoming bad again. It stops being benign and starts becoming another B word that means bad. Oh shit, bad. It stops being English. What word starts with B and means bad? It's so dumb. Help me. Help your cousin. Help your cousin. Clearly he's struggling. He's struggling with words today. What word starts with B and means bad? Bad. Yes. When does cracking your back stop being benign and starts becoming bad? Bad. I'm looking at the lemon right now, and right now I'm thinking about I know y'all probably aren't that deep into coffee, but have y'all ever seen those coffees where they use an acid and milk to purposely curdle the milk? It sounds gross, but yeah, basically they purposefully curdle the milk, then they filter it out and stuff like that. And then they use that in their coffee drink. And apparently it tastes good. I don't know. I've never tried it. I'm too scared to try. It looks nasty when you do it, you know, because like you're pouring the acid, like, you know, lemon juice. I've seen some people do vinegar. I think vinegar is a little too extreme and looks unpleasant all at the same time. But apparently you can do that with vinegar as well. But yeah, they take milk, they curdle it on purpose with their acid of choice, and then they filter it out and they use that in their coffee. And it sounds even weirder to me than just straight up lemon in your coffee. It sounds like the next step in why. But apparently it tastes good. I can't vouch for it, but according to the people that have done it, apparently it tastes good. So if y'all want to try that, you can. I'm probably not going to try that anytime soon because it sounds a little too out there for me. Plus it takes a long time to do, so I couldn't do it on stream if y'all were interested. Yeah, it's like a overnight thing, I think. Could be wrong about that. Maybe there's a faster way to do it, but from what I've seen, it's an overnight affair of this whole curdled and filter. Maybe there's a way to do it faster. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not into the idea. I'm probably not going to do it anytime soon. And if I were to do it, I'd do it off stream because of how long it takes. And I know y'all don't want to see like a freaking cheesecloth filter thing dealio. But yeah, that's what the lemon made me think about. Oh my gosh. It is stuffy in here. Oh yeah. Earlier there was a weird warning alert in Fort Worth about thunderstorms with potential hailstorms. Right now in Texas, it's basically summer, isn't it? It's January, February, March, April, May. I guess it's technically the end of spring. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Who says but I don't know. Potato, tomato, potato, tomato, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, nah, it's freaking Texas, man. Hail. Hail in the middle, well, not middle, end of spring, beginning of summer. Only in Texas. Actually, no, not only in Texas. I forgot the northern states. They have potential to get hail. But it's strange for a state this close to the equator, you know, this far south. It's weird. Especially one that is often depicted as like a desert. I don't know, like in a lot of TV shows and movies, Texas is depicted as a desert. Not all of Texas is a desert, just a good amount of it. A good amount of it. Actually, no, that's not even true, because like you go out to like the countryside, it's all grassland and hills. Grass and hills. Yeah. Hills of grass. They look like grassy asses. Grassy ass. That's what a hill looks like, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a grassy ass. All right, let's clear out our mouth again. Elsa. Oh man, I wonder how weird it is for y'all to see me drink stuff without seeing me drink stuff. You know, it's like, where's the cup? Why isn't it going up to his lips? I demand to see some lip action here, some tongue action all over that cup. Better be French in that cup. Like, real man, real goat man. Real goat man needs to stick his tongue up in that cup and be all, you know. Okay. I feel like I should make one more drink before I end the stream. One more drink. What should I make? I could cop out and just make an Americano. Okay. Let's go ahead and make a ghetto Americano. Using purely the machine. Well, actually no, before I made it purely with the machine. Yeah, nah, but last time I used the steam wand to get hot water, I forgot you can just add more hot water in the process. That way we're not doing two steps, we're just doing one step of press the button. Easier on my old man joints, you know? I can press the button one time instead of two. That really does a favor for my joints. Oh, that's not enough water. We'll still drink it anyways. Think of it like a lightened up espresso. Speaking of lightened up espressos, actually, no, I'll save that for another time. Y'all are probably bored of me talking about coffee all the time. Jeez, this old guy, he has a weird obsession with coffee. Can't you talk about anything else besides coffee? Ugh. Too damn bad. When it's coffee time, we talk coffee. When it's turkey time, we talk turkey. I wonder if there is a turkey time. There's probably a turkey time somewhere out there in the world. Actually, no, in Turkey, it's turkey time all the time. I'm so funny. No. Just an old guy sitting in front of a camera talking to himself. Oh man. That's actually kind of sad sounding. It sounds like I have dementia. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dementia is kind of scary. That's not the note that I wanted to end on, though. That's not the note that I wanted to end on. No. Thinking about the, imminent demise of everything. I'm sorry that you are alone. Aw. It's alright. I have you for the last, couple minutes of the stream. I have you, cousin slayers. You and everyone else that watches this. Actually, more than just the people that watch this. More than just my followers. Everyone in the world, y'all mean the world to me. The world means the world to me. No. Every life is worth living. Even the crappy ones. It's kind of chocolatey, like that. All right, let's finish this off real quick, and then we can say our goodbyes until next time, as usual. All right. Think of it as my little prayer that I like to say to y'all at the end of every stream. My little blessing, my little going away gift. So, thank y'all so much for watching as always. And I hope y'all have a good day, night, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. Not crack of dawn, maybe. Actually, if you're awake at the crack of dawn, y'all have a good crack of dawn as well. I'm just not awake at the crack of dawn this time. Right now, the time is 11 p.m. Texas time. Right. So I'll send y'all off with that. Stay safe. It's a crazy world out there, and I hope to see y'all next time.